guys, Mr. going over Precalculus quiz number 1, chapter P, section 1 to P.3, version B, taken August 29th, 2018. Question number 1, circle the best solution. So question number 1 has, in parentheses, negative 3w to the third time over x to the fourth power. A couple ways you can do this problem. One way you can do the problem is you write out the numerator 4 times, and then you have the denominator 4 times. That's x to the fourth. So then here you just multiply all your coefficients. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. 9 times 9 is 81. When you're multiplying the same base, you add the exponents. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 12. So your answer is C. Another way you could have done the problem is, notice in exponents there's no addition or subtractions. You can distribute the 4 to each of the other exponents. So this would be negative 3 to the fourth power. 4 times 3 is 12. W to the third, so these are all rational. Square root of 21. There's a decimal that keeps going on forever. So the correct answer is C. You get, I know it says 2 points. We get 1 point for writing your name, 1 point for the period, 2 points apiece for the multiple choice. So that gives you a total of 14. Backside. Question number 7. Well, I'm going to give you directions. I didn't grade number 7, but free response, make sure to show all your work and box your answers, solve and graph an interval notation. The reason why this one's incorrect is I didn't grade it because if you distribute here, you get negative 10x plus x squared less than x minus 15. So it becomes quadratic, and we haven't taught you by the time you took this one. So move everything to one side. Can't factor it, so I'm going to use quadratic formula, and then you'll get x is 11 plus or minus square root of 61 over 2. But again, didn't grade it. Question number 8. Find the distance between B and C to the nearest tenth. Okay, so nearest tenth means you have to round. Exact means keep it as a fraction or radical. So you can solve this problem in 2 ways. You can use the distance formula, which I'm showing you here. Write down your order pairs. B is going left, so negative 2 up 4. C is negative 3, negative 4. Labeled my order pairs, x1, y1, x2, y2. Write down the distance formula. My x2 value is negative 3. This problem you have to pay attention that you leave this minus sign. x1 is negative 2. y2 is negative 4. And my y1 value is 4. So then you're just simplifying, so now you're using order of operations. So inside your parentheses would be negative 3. That becomes plus 2, which is negative 1, and this is negative 8. Remember, this does not mean negative 8 times 2. This is negative 8 times negative 8, which is positive 64. 64 plus 1 is 65. This is an exact answer, but when you put in your calculator and you're rounding, you have to look at the third decimal place, because I said to the round to the nearest tenth. So that's, well, not 3 places. Round to the nearest tenth is just this position, the first one to the right of the decimal. So you would have to look at this number, because this is 5 or higher, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you would round this number up. If it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, you keep that number. You can also use the Pythagorean Theorem. Basically what you do is you take your 2 points here, and then you're going to make a right triangle, and this has a distance of 1, and this is a distance of 4 plus 4, so that's a distance of 8. And you just put in your Pythagorean Theorem. Take the square root of both sides. Square root of 65. This is an exact answer, and this is rounded to the nearest tenth. I gave you guys 1 point if you a point off if you gave me square root of 65, you rounded incorrectly. 2 points if you wrote down a correct formula. 3 points if you're working towards the right answer but made a minor mistake. Question number 9, solve and graph in interval notation. Here you have a compound inequality. One way of solving the problem is you subtract 4 from all of the columns. So this becomes negative 7, 14, and that cancels to be 0. You're left with 7 divided by 7 on all columns. You get negative 1 less than equal to c, which is less than 2. Now pay attention that this means c is less than 2, open circle. C is greater than or equal to negative 1. So negative 1, greater means going towards the right. And it's a compound and is a keyword, so it looks like a bar. Now, this problem does say interval notation. So if you did this correctly in inequalities, you got 3 out of 4. Closed circles are brackets, open circles are parentheses. This is your graph. So I was trying to show you. So maybe you only had the graph, I took off a point, or let's just say you got the rest of it right and you didn't solve it. Bracket, negative 1, 2. Second way you could have solved this problem, let me show you guys. Just use your finger. 7c plus 4 is less than 18. Subtract 4 from both sides. Divided by 7. You get c is less than 2. Take your finger, cover up that side. Negative 3 less than or equal to 7c plus 4. Subtract 4 from both sides. You'll have negative 7 divided by 7. Negative 1. If you want to flip it, you can. So it says c is greater than or equal to negative 1. And then if you ever want to put that back together for some reason, you can. So I have c in the middle, smaller number on the left, bigger number on the right. Follow the inequality, pointing towards the negative 1. This is what it looks like. Now, if you graph this independently, some of you guys are starting to get stuck on the more complicated ones. Your graph looks like this. C is less than 2. And then C is greater than negative 1. You have this overlap. And you're not quite sure where the solutions are. Well, let me review this really quickly. The keyword here is and, because it's a compound inequality. And what do? And means two conditions. It needs to meet both conditions. So for example, over here, if you pick negative 2, negative 2 is smaller than 2. Negative 2 is bigger than negative 1. That's false. But you need 2 of these to be a solution. So in this region, I'll put a different color. This region's not a solution. And if you did it by colors, you can kind of see that because the orange is only in this area. So it's only a solution for one, but I need a solution for both. Pick a number to the far right of this number here. So I'll just pick 3. 3 smaller than 2? No. 3 bigger than negative 1? Yes. But remember, it only meets one condition, which is true here. I need 2 of them. Let's pick a number in the middle. Always try to pick 0. Easiest. 0 is less than 2. Yes. 0 is greater than negative 1. Yes. So it was not a solution here. We're looking for 2 check marks for the word and. So basically in between is your solutions. So when you see the overlap, think of the test points. Is it possible for you to take the test points and go back to the original equation? Yes, you can, but assuming these are correct, it's a little bit simpler to understand the trues and false. Again, you got a point taken off if you just left it as inequalities and not interval notation. Question number 10. In this problem, I have fractions. Here I have fractions with the denominators of 4, 2, and 6. Here I wrote out the multiples of 2, counting by 2, counting by 4, counting by 6. And the number I'm circling here is the lowest common multiple. So if I multiply both sides by 12, 12 over 1, multiply across, you get 60 over 6, which reduces to 10. Here you're going to distribute 12 over 1 times 3 over 4, multiply across, 36 over 4. This becomes a negative 84 over 2. If you reduce that, 9x minus 42. They add 42 to both sides, divided by 9. It doesn't say here to the even fractions or decimals. I like fractions. Let's see, put that in calculator. 52 So if you rounded here, I don't know if you can see that answer, 5.78, then I give you 3 points. Because rounding doesn't, it's actually, it's a, it keeps going on and it's repeating, so it is still a rational number, but what I'm saying is that this is not the best answer. It's not enough. It's not specific enough. This is the best one, 52/9. So remember in this problem I only graded 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 times 4 gives you 12, and then 12 plus 14 gives you, this should have been 26, so you add up your score, and then hopefully you box your answers and weren't messy, and then this is out of 26 points. Hopefully these quiz corrections were helpful for you. Have a good day. So that would be negative 3 to the 4th power, which is 81. W to the 3rd power, so that's the 3 times 4, that gives you the 12, and then x to the 4th. Question number 2 is scientific notation. It says expressed in scientific notation. Notice my original problem is a big number, therefore my answer is going to be a positive exponent. So here I would eliminate choice C. And then here you just count. Here's the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're looking for a number between 1 and 9. So 4.3 is a number between 1 and 9. And so my answer is B. A is incorrect because that would move it to 0.43, and that is not that's a number outside of this range. And then D is incorrect because it says to the 1st power. That's not enough. Question number 3. Multiple choice, find the center and radius of the circle with the given equation. Here's my equation, x squared plus y minus 9 squared equals 81. I'm going to write that with parentheses, so if you have no parentheses, you can add it with a 0. And then the 81 I'm going to write as 9 squared. The reason why I do this is so that I can easily identify my h value. Notice how I'm not circling the negative sign, so h is 0, k is 9, and then your r value is also 9. So my center of my circle is 0, 9, and I have a radius of 9. That would be choice A. Question number 4. Here I have to solve for x. Here I'm going to distribute the 3. So distributing the 3 means that you have 15x plus 12 minus 20. These are like terms, so that gives you minus 8. On this side, I'm going to move the x's together. When you're going across the equal sign, you're doing opposites. So positive 13x, opposite of negative 13x. The goal of that is to get 0. Over here, notice how you're not doing opposites because you're on one side of the equation. That becomes 2x minus 8 equals negative 4. Add 8 to both sides. I get 2x equals 4. Divide by 2, and x equals 2, which is choice A. Excuse me. Question number 5, you were supposed to find the greatest common factor here. I took 16x to the 9th, y to the 9th, and what I did is I broke them down into factors, another way of doing the problem. And I have 8 times 2 times x to the 3rd, x to the 3rd, essentially x to the 9th, and then y to the 9th. And you might ask, how come I didn't write out all those x's? Here I'm thinking ahead what would be in the next group. So then negative 24x, 6, y to the 7th would be negative 3 times 8, x to the 3rd, x to the 3rd, y to the squared, y to the 5th. Remember, when you're multiplying the same base, you add the exponents. That's the 7th power. And over here, negative 2 times 8 times x squared times x, and then y squared. And then there you're just circling what they all have in common. That's what it means to be a common factor. So the 8s I'm circling. The x cubes I'm circling. And the y squareds I'm circling. So here, this is called my greatest common factor. And then what I don't circle, I'm going to write inside. So I have a 2x to the 6th, y to the 7th. And then negative 3x to the 3rd, y to the 5th. And then you have that negative 2 here. And that would be choice B. Remember, you don't have to show all your work for multiple choice to get full credit, but you shouldn't leave us suspicious of what you're doing there. Question number 6. Which of these set of numbers contains all the rational numbers? Remember the story I taught you. Think of an adult or a teacher who keeps going on forever and ever and just keeps talking. Maybe you guys think I do that. Maybe you think I'm irrational. So A is not, because it says which of the set of numbers contains all the rational numbers. Rational number, integer, this is a terminating decimal, but this is a decimal that keeps going on, so I circled that because this one's irrational, and then that's not this one. So in B, I circled 99, square root of 99, because if you type in square root of 99, that decimal keeps going on forever. And then C, I put a check because all of these, that's a negative integer. Square root of 225 is negative 15, and then here is a 478, so 7 divided by 8. You'll see that is a decimal that is terminating.
I love math. You don't love math? What's wrong with you?